Today we're looking at lesson 8.4, which is special products. So you have two kinds of special products, where you have what they call the square of a sum, which is here. So you have a plus b squared. That's always going to be a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Whatever you would fill in for the a and the b, this is always going to be your format for your answer. Then you have square of a difference, which is set up as a minus b squared, and that's going to be similar to what we just did, except for you're going to have a minus sign next to the 2ab. So we're going to do these together. This one is going to be, it's square of a sum. So you have 8c plus 3d squared. So that means you take the first term and square it. So that's going to be 64c squared. Then you multiply the two terms together and then multiply that by 2. So 24cd would be 8c times 3d, and then you multiply that by 2, so that's going to be 48cd. Then you have 3d squared, which is going to be 9d squared. So this would be your final answer. The next one, take the first term, square it again. Then you multiply both terms times each other and multiply that by 2. So 3x times 4y is 12xy times 2 would be 24xy. And then you square the second term. So that's going to be plus 16y squared. And that would be my answer. Here's square of a difference. So you still square the first term, which is 36p squared. You still multiply both together and then multiply that by 2, but it's going to be a minus 2 times 6p times 1. So that's minus 6p. Oops, minus 12p. And then you square the second term, which is going to be positive 1. And that would be my answer. And again, you square the first term, a squared, multiply the two together, and by 2, so 2b times a is 2ba, and then you multiply that by 2, so it's minus 4ba, or ab, it doesn't matter. And then you square the third term. Square the second term, which is negative 2b times negative 2b. So you get positive 4b squared. And that would be your answer. Then you have what they call product of a sum and difference. So that means one of your parentheses is going to have the difference of two numbers or two terms. One is going to have the sum of two terms. And what happens is the middle terms are going to cancel each other out, so you're left with a squared minus b squared, which is basically just saying the first term squared minus the second term squared, if you see that set up. So here are some examples of those. So 3n plus 2 times 3n minus 2 is going to be the first term squared, so 9n squared, minus the second term squared, so 4. And that would be your answer. And again, we have 4c minus 7d times 4c plus 7d, so we square the first term, and then we subtract, square the second term. And that would be my final answer. Then we have one word problem here. This is talking about a garden that's g feet long and g feet wide. He wants to add 3 feet to the length and the width. So you have g plus 3 and then g plus 3. Well, if you're thinking of a rectangular garden, that would be g plus 3 times g plus 3. It's going to give you your area. So it says, show how the new area of the garden can be modeled by the square of a binomial. Well, one side is going to be, whoops, one side is going to be g plus 3, and the other side, or the width, is going to be g plus 3. So if I'm going to write this to be the square of a binomial, I'm just going to write it once and square it. So this would be my answer for A. Then it says find the square of this binomial, so we're going to actually multiply it out. So this is square of a sum, so you take the first term, square it, take both terms, multiply together, and times it by 2, so plus 6g, and then you take the third term, or the second term, and square it, so plus 9. So this would be my square of the binomial for B. And that concludes Lesson 8-4.